The reunion on the Hill of Swords, grief, trauma, and the three faces of loss in Berserk. Hello everyone, my name is Isaiah. My friend Tristan and I love Berserk. We both don't just think that it's one of the greatest manga of all time, but also one of the greatest dark fantasy stories ever told. We wanted to start this channel off with a video that symbolizes our interest and love for the story, but also appreciation to it as well for the moments and the characters that shape this narrative. We wanted to specifically highlight this chapter specifically, for all the emotions and the significance that this moment brings to the story as a whole. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful climactic scenes in all of Berserk, the reunion on the Hill of Swords. It's a place where three central characters, Guts, Griffith, and Rickert, confront their grief, their memories, and ultimately the path that they've chosen. In this video, let's analyze why the Hill of Swords is so essential to Berserk's story, and how it symbolizes each character's unique struggle to make peace with the past, or to escape it entirely. The Hill of Swords in Berserk is more than a memorial. It's a battleground of grief, where three men, once bound by camaraderie, stand before the graves of their fallen friends. Guts, Griffith, and Rickert each face this place, the symbol of loss in radically different ways. Their reactions, their emotional states, and their past choices collide in this moment, reflecting not just their individual journeys, but how grief has shaped them into the people that they've become. For Griffith, this moment is more than a mere reunion. It's a self-assessment, a test of whether the man who led the Band of the Hawk still exists in any meaningful sense. Griffith stands in front of the graveyard, created by Rickert in honor of their fallen comrades, and in this quiet, chilling moment, he measures his own detachment. This isn't a place for Griffith to mourn, but to confirm something. To see if the weight of the Band of the Hawk, of the lives he sacrificed for his dream, still affects him. It's almost as if he's conducting an experiment on his own soul, standing amid the memories of those who once fought for him, waiting to see if any part of his old self will surface. But he feels nothing. This emptiness, this lack of emotional response, solidifies the truth. He has fully transcended his humanity. The death of his comrades was a necessary step, just a piece of the puzzle in the grander design of his dream. Griffith's indifference here marks his final severance from his past. He is no longer the leader who dreamed of creating a kingdom with his friends at his side. He is Femto, a being who will sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve his vision. And the lives that were lost. They're no longer obstacles, they're building blocks. To Griffith, the Hill of Swords isn't a symbol of loss, it's a symbol of progress. And then there's Guts. For him, this graveyard is not a place to process grief. It's a grim reminder of the massacre that still haunts him every single day. Unlike Griffith, Guts can't look at these swords with detachment. He can't move past their deaths because he's never had the luxury to truly mourn them at this point. The only way Guts has ever known how to deal with his pain is through violence. His grief has no outlet but revenge. Guts' journey since the eclipse has been one of pure survival. He's become the Black Swordsman, dedicating his life to hunting apostles down and to finally getting to the God Hand, driven by rage and vengeance. Every apostle he slays is a step closer to making things right in his mind, to avenging the Band of the Hawk, and perhaps most importantly, to avenging Casca, his beloved. But his obsession, this transformation of grief into anger, means Guts can never truly heal. He's trapped in an endless cycle of violence, using his sword not just to kill his enemies, but to express the depths of his pain. I hunker back onto the scene when Guts first comes back and he sees Goto. He gives Guts a reality check. He told Guts that he was acting on selfish missions of vengeance and hatred, and left Casca and Rickert. His rage and hatred drove himself out and made him forget the people that were still around and relied upon him and truly love him. His rage consumed him to the point of no return, in which his mind state is fucked beyond any human threshold, and to where his emotional state to this point of the story has de-evolution back to where it was before he met the Band of the Hawk. Though there are still pieces of him that shine through in many facets, but most of the time in the Black Swordsman arc, he was consumed by utter rage. For Guts, the Hill of Swords is a place that constantly reminds him of his failure to protect the people he loved. It stands as a monument to the lives he couldn't save, and his only way of dealing with it is through his relentless quest for vengeance. Unlike Rickert, who can remember the fallen with peace, Guts is forever tied to their deaths, forever consumed by their loss. And unlike Griffith, who has detached himself entirely, Guts cannot let go. He carries their deaths with him in every single swing of his Dragon Slayer sword. Then we have Rickard, the one who took it upon himself to build this memorial, to honor the fallen. Unlike Guts or Griffith, Rickard represents acceptance, the ability to grieve, to mourn, and to move forward. He didn't witness the eclipse firsthand, but he understands the cost, and while he is deeply affected by the loss of his comrades, he has processed it in a way that Guts and Griffith simply cannot. Rickard's strength lies in his ability to remember without being consumed. He can grieve for the fallen and still live in the present, carrying their memories with him in a way that honors them without letting their deaths define him. To him, the Hill of Swords is not just a graveyard. It's a symbol of the legacy of the Band of the Hawk, a way to keep them alive in spirit, if not in body. Rickard represents the final step to grief, acceptance. He's able to reconcile the loss of his friends with the understanding that life goes on. He grieves, but he doesn't allow that grief to destroy him. Unlike Guts, whose life is consumed by vengeance, and unlike Griffith, who has entirely detached from his humanity, Rickard embodies balance. He mourns, but he also moves forward. Even after the Hill of Swords, when Guts finally reveals to him what happened during the eclipse, the only reason he gives off anger and despair is because he wasn't there with them at that moment and felt like he should have died with his comrades. But he's outward with his grief, expresses it in both anger and despair, but lets go of it and moves forward and thinks about Erika and Casca and how to protect them in that moment. One of the greatest parts about Berserk's story is the way it shows the true strength of characters. Though it has its subtleties, and though it doesn't give too much away about certain characters, I love the way that this particular scene and chapter shows just how noteworthy and strong Rickard really is as a character and how much he has grown since the Golden Age arc. The symbolism of the Hill of Swords. So, what does the Hill of Swords represent? It's not just a physical place, it's a reflection of how each of these characters deal with grief since the events of the eclipse. Griffith sees it as a reminder of what he sacrificed for his dream, and only as a test to see if he has been truly freed from his humanity. Guts sees it as a constant reminder of a nightmare he can never escape from. He sees it as a failure to protect the closest ones to him, especially his beloved Casca. He still can't get over it, still enraged of their deaths. Rickard sees it as a tribute, a way to honor the dead while still cherishing their memory. In this moment, we see the intersection of these three responses to loss. Griffith with detachment, Guts with rage, and finally Rickard with acceptance. The reunion on the Hill of Swords serves not only as a climax within the story, but also as a crossroads for each of those three's emotional journeys. Griffith has abandoned his humanity in pursuit of his ambition and only used the reunion as a test to see if he's indeed been free from his emotions. Rickard, though saddened by the past, has found peace and a way to keep moving forward. And then Guts. Guts, who's trapped in a cycle of violence and vengeance, unable to move on and move forward with his life. He is consumed by his rage of Griffith and the God Hand. He is so consumed by his hatred that he's hunting down any apostle just to quench his rage and bloodthirst of the beast of darkness that lies within him. In that moment where his eyes meets Griffith, he doesn't care about anything, not even the safety of Casca in that particular moment. For the past arc, he's been readjusting and refocusing on what matters to him most, on trying to find and protect Casca, as well as finding and protecting Rickard and Erika too. But still, he is the branded swordsman. He will always be hunted and haunted every night by demons and apostles, and in that way, he can still never truly heal from the eclipse. The conclusion. A study in grief. The Hill of Swords is one of the most profound scenes in Berserk because it highlights how grief can shape us in drastically different ways. It's not just about loss. It's about what we do with that loss, how we carry it, and how it defines our futures. For Griffith, it's a stepping stone. For Guts, it's a shackle. For Rickard, it's a memory, a painful one, but one he can live with. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of the reunion on the Hill of Swords, and the grief that defines these characters. If you found this analysis insightful, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below on how you think grief shapes the world of Berserk. Thank you. Have a great day.